The WWE's Hall of Fame is now probably going to be around SummerSlam, which, of course, due to this crazy world we live in, this coronavirus, this COVID-19, whatever you want to call it, um, basically canceling the NXT event, the NXT Takeover, and the um, Hall of Fame, which we would assume, due to sources and due to one of the inductees' daughters saying it will happen around SummerSlam. And we'll get to that one because that one's a long time coming. But since we have time before the Hall of Fame now, we don't have to rush these. We kind of take our time on each inductee somewhat and give them their proper notice on here. And a lot of these coming up around here are great. Some of these not so much, but two of them that we're going to talk about today, a lot more women could have been inducted before them. Not saying they don't deserve it. They absolutely do, for basically making this Divas Revolution, being a part of it, and somewhat making it happen with a 30-second tag match that basically sparked this Give Divas a Chance and started the Women's Revolution, the Women's Evolution, everything. The Bella Twins, Nikki and Brie. And a lot of people would say a lot more women deserve to be in there before them, and I would agree with that. But who else are you going to put in here this year? Especially with the list that we have right now, you have to put someone in here. A lot of people could argue that China could be in, but again, China was technically inducted with DX, so China is technically already in the Hall of Fame. But if you want to induct her individually, I understand that. There's many people, I think, like Molly Holly, people like Jacqueline, people like, just thinking off the top of my head, Victoria, and several others that I'm probably skipping my mind on right now. But just out of my head, those people could have been in before them for sure. But they did do a lot for their career, and ironically, as part of a team, as far as the team goes, they didn't really have tag titles, but then again, you would think, and some people said many years ago that, they could probably create a tag title so the Bellas could have titles. This is before they went off and had their singles runs and became what they are now. But it's ironic that they have tag titles and they're long gone now. So it kind of shows the era of what they were in. Let's just go over them individually and go for them as a team. First off, for Brie Bella, probably I would say, if you were going to make one of them a star, make one of them the foundation of your company for the women's division, I would say Brie, because she's improved so much after training with her husband, Daniel Bryan. A lot of people would say, oh, they're just being inducted because of who they fucked. And you could go that way. And if anything, you think about Total Divas and Total Bellas, they made themselves stars just based on that. They made an entire series. And I haven't watched Total Divas and Total Bellas in years because it's hard to keep up with all this shit going on. You have wrestling almost every night of the year right now, and even with this coronavirus and all this stuff, but we got to see them inside their world. You got to see inside their world at that time, and things we didn't know at the time. What some of them was dating Daniel Bryan, one of them was dating John Cena, and of course that didn't pan out, and we got to see that unfold on a live basis, on a weekly basis, when Total Bellas and Total Divas were on. It's different. But, again, as far as someone improving, Brie definitely improved over the long run compared to Nikki. Nikki improved for sure, but I would say Brie improved more from like a technical level, from an actual wrestling level, and from a time where the women weren't actually wrestling, was still more TNA at the time. And kind of evolving into actual women's wrestling. They didn't really need to. But even so, they did a lot of things. For example, just even based on their television. and based on their movies, they did a lot. But let's go off of their accomplishments in wrestling in general. For Brie, was ranked number 11 on the top 15 females of female 50 and PWI female 50 in 2015. The Teen Choice Awards, her and Nikki won the Choice Female Athlete for the Wrestling Observer newsletter. Worst feud of the year with Nikki, where they wished one of them died in the womb. Just great television right there. Worst feud of the year, the PCB Team Bad Team Bella, beginning of the Women's Evolution. I could see that because there was all of them together. Just a free team feud and no other women were shown. And the worst worked match of the year, the Total Divas versus the True Divas match at Survivor Series, which was Nikki Bella, Cameron, Eva Marie, JoJo, Naomi, Natalia, versus AJ Lee, Oksana, Alicia Fox, Caitlin Rosa Mendez, Summer Rae, and Tamina. God, that feels so long ago. But God. For WWE, the Divas Championship once, and 3 Slammy Awards of the Couple of the Year, Daniel Bryan, 2013 and 14, Diva of the Year, which was shared with Nikki, and of course the Hall of Fame. But for Nikki, again, they improved over time to where Nikki was actually great, and of course injuries kind of stunted her career at that time, but for what it's worth, she improved over time for sure. She was better as a wrestler, and again, when a time where it was more looks instead of actual wrestling. You had twins and they guest hosted a lot. If you were going to pick one of them as the face of your company, as far as looks, to be like, to sell merchandise, to sell things, to just make a brand, I would pick Nikki in that instance, just based, especially with certain enhancements, you can make yourself be a top star. And, in the Divas division, when enhancements happened a lot, this would have helped her in the long run. But for PWI, she was number 1 on that PWI 50 in 2015. For Rolling Stone, she was named Diva of the Year in 2015. For the Teen Choice Awards, the same award with Brie. And a lot of these blend together. The worst feud of the year for the Brie and Nikki, the PCB, Team Bad, Team Bella, and then the Survivor Series. A 2-time Divas champion, at the time, the longest reigning Divas champion in history. And may still be, honestly. And for Slammys, 2013, 2015, Diva of the Year. And as a team, again, not really a lot. But, the Choice Female Award, for Teen Choice Awards. Interestingly enough, the Gooker Award, which for WrestleCrap is basically a hall of shame for them, and was the feud between them, kind of the same things together. But again, if you look at them as a team, you look at the twin dynamic, even them debuting was just one of them by themselves. Of course, one of them would go under the ring and the other one would finish the match. It was different at the time. You didn't have, you always saw people like Gemini or the Bashams, as far as like twin teams, to where twin magic became a thing. But you never saw female twins. You never saw it's weird to think about, but you never saw women like do the same things as, like, say, a Gemini or the Bashams or even Kurt and Eric Angle, when that was a thing. I don't know if people remember that, but not having similar looking people that were actually sisters. They knew everything about themselves. They knew everything about each other, which made those matches better. And people said, oh, that was horrible. But at the same time, they were bad. But at the same time, they were good because these women knew everything about each other. These women knew what each other would do. And if they were facing each other, it would make a better match. But, a lot of people will say, oh, they fucked their way to the top, which you could argue that. But at the same time, they improved over time. It is so much better. And honestly, if you were just going to put them in the Hall of Fame, they do deserve it. Again, there are more women that I think of that do deserve it more. But if you're going to put them in the Hall of Fame, you might as well.